You've finally done it. You make the last small change to the thumbnail and... oh no, it looks terrible. You barely notice it among the flood of other videos. You wasted hours working on this one thumbnail looking for the perfect pictures on Google, but nothing looks good. Well, you don't need to fear. I've spent years making thumbnails for YouTube channels. I've made tons of mistakes and some of my early work was pretty rough, but it was all worth it because I was able to learn the secrets that I know today. So, I'm going to run you through 4 mistakes that I and millions of other people have made and how to fix them. Number 1. Ugly fonts. Now, you might think you know well enough that the Jokerman font isn't the best choice for your thumbnail, but an ugly font isn't as obvious as that, although I'm surprised with just how many people I see using strange fonts in their thumbnail. So yes, please don't use wingdings in your thumbnail. But the fonts that do and don't work aren't always that clear. You might notice things like Arial and other fonts you'd see in writing on websites and apps actually look kind of bad when put on a thumbnail. That's because these fonts in their normal state weren't meant to stand out. So my personal tip is to use fonts that are bold or semi-bold. These fonts have much thicker letters, so they stand out way more than the standard ones. You should also write your text in all caps, since that will make your words bigger and easier to read. Using both bold fonts and all caps will dramatically improve your thumbnail immediately. Number 2. Not using proper PNG images. Have you ever searched for an image with a transparent background, found one and then downloaded it? At first, everything seems great, but then you add the image to whatever you were working on and now it's surrounded by these white and grey squares. If you've been making thumbnails for a while, I know this has happened to you a bunch of times. Well, what if I told you that I knew the trick to actually getting an image with a transparent background from Google? When you search up for your image, you'll notice that some have the white and grey squares before you click on them, whereas others don't. If you select the ones with a white background and then it gets the squares after it loads, this means that it actually has a transparent background and you can save it. Just make sure that you keep it as a PNG and not a JPEG. Images that have white and grey squares before you click on them won't have transparent backgrounds if you save them from Google Images. But they'll probably be from PNG websites, and if you want you can go onto these and directly download your image from there. Be careful though, because there are usually loads of fake pop-ups on these websites, so make sure you're selecting the right buttons. Also, if you want your own thumbnails made by me, then you can click on my Fiverr gig in the description. Number 3. Repetition. Look at the thumbnail of this video. Then look at the title. Notice how I didn't repeat anything from the title in the thumbnail. I could have put 4 thumbnail mistakes in the thumbnail, but that would have been a massive waste of space. You should only use your thumbnail to highlight the most exciting things about your video. The only exception that I can think of would be if you had a really short title, like 1 or 2 words. You can put in a condensed or reworded version, but please don't rewrite your 8-word long title in the thumbnail. This mistake isn't as important as the other 2, as there are some well-performing videos out there that break this rule, but 99% of the time your video will look and perform better if you avoid rewriting the title in the thumbnail. Number 4. Small text. This one is pretty simple, but it makes all the difference. When you're making your thumbnail, you have to remember that this is going to be displayed at an 8 of the size that you're seeing. Obviously you don't want any tiny text, but you're also going to want to have each line of text taking up at least a third of the image. It all really depends on how you lay out your thumbnail, but if the text is important or exciting, you would ideally want it to be pretty big. Okay, so that's the final big mistake that I see a lot of small and sometimes big YouTubers make. I'd love to hear what you've learned and what mistakes you've made, so comment below, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.